All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So Bitcoin taking out yesterday's low. Yesterday's low took out the previous day's low. So basically, we're just trending lower on the week. This is the last week in September. Obviously, we know that August was a bearish month. It looks like September is trying to at least pull back. We were watching a daily resistance level to see if we pulled into support here. We've been trading here for 4 days now, and it does not look as if though it's going to be able to hold support, as we are breaking down, making fresh lows. So yesterday we were watching this, and the short trade literally happened while the stream was going live. We were trading up in this area right in here, and we noticed that the VIX was starting to expand in the upward direction. That typically doesn't mean anything good for risk markets. We'll see if it ends up being an area for a reversal today, but I mean, as of right now, it looks pretty bad. If you look at the weekly chart, it's a pretty very weak chart here. You are on the weekly lows. You are pulling into an open here from the Monday the 8th weekly range. That's the second week of September. We'll see if this area acts as support. So we can go ahead and move a line down there just to indicate that. And we might want to watch last week's low as well. I wouldn't suggest getting long down here, especially since the VIX is still moving higher. So your VIX is expanding in an upward direction. This literally means it is a risk off move. If you look at this on longer term, this is your yearly opening range here on the VIX. This has been the range for quite a while here. So we'll see if this ends up, catching the highs. But I wouldn't be trying to buy it, and at least until I seen an obvious support on an intraday time frame. Here's your risk markets right here, the ES or your futures. And it's just, it's a pretty smooth lower move. Right up here is the cash market. So the last 2 days been bearish. We're going to open as another gap down today. And the bottom edge of the expected move is coming in at 65.81. That is 65.81. So be careful if you are looking to buy. Today is Thursday, so we're late week. We do have one more data point coming out today. It's going to be existing home sales. That's going to come out at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. And then tomorrow we have PCE, which is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. We'll see what happens with that. But right now we are seeing a slight pullback. September and August, both of these months are historically weak for Bitcoin and risk markets. So we were kind of looking for resistance to form, and it did. And now you're seeing lower highs and lower lows as the week goes on. The rest of the crypto market as a whole looks really bad today. I mean, it's not really, really bad, but there are a few that are down significantly. Hype is down significantly. This thing is down 10% today. And then the rest of them are all red except XMR. I'm going to go ahead and say this. I have not had good luck shorting XMR. All right, this thing trades on its own merit. It doesn't usually respect what the rest of the crypto market is doing. It is typically trading under its own analysis, if you will. But we already took out August's high. We did reject that price. We did tag monthly resistance, and it is pulling back. We're still above the midpoint of September. And if you look at the daily, you can basically see it's just range bound. It's been here for multiple days. So if you want to look for shorts, in my opinion, you could short this. The shorts, it's very choppy. All right, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. You've been doing nothing. Bitcoin and the crypto markets have literally been going down since Sunday. So the rest of the crypto markets are trending down all week long. Been fairly easy shorts. We caught the short on Bitcoin yesterday. Here's the open position right now. I did not get into it with a full size position. It was a mistake because I was thinking that I was on the Ethereum chart. So I trade Ethereum with a smaller position size because it can move more than Bitcoin. But I mean, we tagged it up here and it's literally rolled over since. It's been a decent little trade. So I'm going to hold this to see what happens next. And obviously I am short the XMR. I'm looking at it basically above the last 4-hour swing high. And I took the short there originally. I got stopped out already once this morning. That's what I'm talking about. This thing can trade very sideways and very choppy. So be careful if you are looking to short XMR. The price level that we're watching to hold shorts, 297.38. As long as price is trading under that, I'm going to put a short on. If it continues to trade choppy at this level, like all morning when we get the open, then I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to eat like 30 stops on this thing this morning. It's not worth it. So we'll see what it does from here. 4-hour chart, very choppy. You've got the daily 21 exponential underneath you. You've got the weekly 21 exponential underneath you. Your September VWAP is down here. There's like a whole lot of reasons why this thing doesn't look like a short. And then here is your weekly VWAP, just right in the middle of this chop slop. So if you are going to short it, make sure you're using good risk management. And then your intraday VWAP all the way up here. Looking at this on like a 30-minute chart, it has been trending up since the London session. That's where you put in the low right there. That's your low of day. It's going to be your London session low as well. And then we have already made this expansion 30-minute candle here a trap. We have taken out the low. So if it is going to roll over, I'd want to see it roll over from here. Maybe if Bitcoin and Ethereum and the rest of the crypto markets stay weak, XMR may roll over. But it's trading under its own merit. And then that's it. Other than that, I don't have a setup for you because everything else is literally down already and down significantly. We can go look really fast and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We did nail the Fartcoin short. We got out of that the other day, as I felt as if, though I got out of it when it started trading sideways here, I felt as if most of that juice was squeezed out of that lemon, and it's actually moving lower again here today. But most of your altcoins, regardless of the use case, are like this. Here's Pepe, it's down. Hyper, like I said, it's down significantly today, being down almost 10%. This asset usually trades around 2 to 5% inside of a daily range. We are 2 standard deviations outside of that already. LPT's moving in the downward direction. STG, I can't trade this, so I don't know why I still have this on watch. I can only get into a very small position on this. So it's not worth trading, in my opinion. Can't open a full-size position on it. There's no point in trading it. But yeah, it's going to look like that across the board today. So not a whole lot of setups. So it does kind of suck that the only setup that we have really is one that typically does not work great when it comes to short sets. Litecoin has had a down move. W also pushing lower. Solana, big move lower. You are red on the month on Solana. Doge, same thing, getting killed. Compound, Bonk, all of them. Pingu, XRP, ENA, Kronos. Kronos is almost right back to the price it exploded from when we got the good news that Trump was going to invest several $billions into this asset. XMR, this is the one and only that is not getting killed. So that is why I kind of like it for the short. But for whatever reason, the sellers just cannot put this thing away. I would say a big reason is because of the funding rate. As you can see, there is a negative sign up there. that does mean that right now the longs are getting paid to hold this. So, I mean, if you're able to buy it at a good support zone and just set in the long, you'll just accumulate money based on the funding rate. So that could be one reason why we're not seeing it sell off. Or it just could be a very good crypto. Like maybe it has a really good use case. I don't know what it does. I'm not that kind of analyst. I'm not a macro type of guy. I'm looking for technical setups mostly, right? As far as Bitcoin, the macro matters on Bitcoin, but for something like this, it's basically just trading under its own merit. So you can see I'm about to get stopped out again. This thing, for whatever reason, just does not want to roll over. It may roll over eventually. It's a $298 asset. So that right there tells you that it's not like just some garbage token, because most garbage tokens trade for pennies. This thing is trading up at $300. So that it's obviously worth something. And then the MicroStrategy trade that we were looking at, obviously that thing is breaking down today. Lyft is also gapping down. This is another one that we were looking at to hold longs. But let's go in here into MicroStrategy real quick, as it did give us a breakout of a descending wedge. Nice big bullish move to the upside. It traded right to the weekly 21 exponential moving average and reversed. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is the daily. Sorry. Yeah, right there's your weekly 21. So in a sense, that's all you did. You broke back up, tested that 21, and the sellers showed up again on MicroStrategy. I was concerned that MicroStrategy was trading on the lows, on near the August lows all week last week, while Bitcoin was moving higher for the month of September. That was a little bit concerning to me. Now you can see what MicroStrategy is doing. It gapped down, or yesterday it closed under the August lows, which was the point of risk mitigation for us. So if you were watching this late session yesterday, you would have noticed that it was in fact trading under the level that we were watching. So you should have been getting out at that point. If you didn't, you're going to get out a lot lower today, because it is gapping down much, much lower. So yeah, XMR just did make me eat a stop. Other than today, all week has been an absolute phenomenal week. We have been absolutely murdering things left and right. It seems like almost everything we've been trading has been working out pretty damn good. Like I said, we nailed the fart coin short. That trade paid big. Yesterday we bought into a big mover on the crypto world. That was INUSD. It ultimately did end up making a fresh all-time high. But ultimately, when it did that, after the Asian session opened for today's range, it got hammered. So that is probably off the table. I don't think I'd be looking to buy this anymore. I have no idea what it is. It's only worth 9 pennies. So use case probably not so good. Just be careful. But this one was moving yesterday. It was up significantly. We did end up making $50 on a quick scalp to the downside. Then we bought it in this area and it ended up moving up for us. We took profits on it a couple times and then ultimately got stopped out of it. So pretty good little trade. And I am still, oh, that was over here. Sorry, my bad. We're over in this area is where we got long. We were able to capitalize on that. So yeah, this was the new day open here. It ran up, took out the all-time high, and then broke down. As far as today is concerning, or as far as today is concerned with big movers, we only have a couple, and they're not up massively. What is this thing? So it does seem as if though LABUBU USDT is moving. This is also supporting longs. This is also under a penny, but it is moving right now. It is moving to the upside. I don't know how big of a breakout this will have. Let's go look at what this looks like on this chart down here. I have never heard of that. LABUB. U. That's so weird. USDT. Labubu. Of course this is... Oh my god. Is that those little dolls that are people on TikTok are going crazy over? I think it is. Obviously this is a shitcoin meme token. Beanie Baby bullshit. So just be careful. It's not something you want to own. But it is obviously rocking and rolling here right now. Let me see what a position size would even look like on something like this. Okay, so I can only buy 140,000 Labubus, which given my current trading capital, that means 2%. I can only buy 2% of a position size. Very small. But it's moving. Wait, maximum 70,000 market price, closed position, quantity per trade. Yeah, be very careful with this thing, guys. Very careful. So you can buy 100,000, but you can only close 70,000 at market. I would not trade this if I were you. Do not trade this. It's going to be with leverage. Do not trade this with leverage, as it's going to be very difficult to mitigate risks. Yeah, I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm just going to set in the Bitcoin short, see what happens. Probably going to be a pretty slow day today. So if you guys have something that you want me to look at, if you think there is a trade setup, let me know. We'll go look at it and see what's going on. But this right here is your biggest mover on the day. It's up 34%. It's only traded 710,000 tokens in a 24-hour period. I like things to be trading with at least 1 million. You haven't hit 1 million yet. Very dangerous on weeks. It might not be dangerous on your exchange, but on weeks it is dangerous. Leave it alone. Anytime you can buy a certain amount of tokens and you can't sell that same amount, yeah, you gotta be careful. Because if it goes against you and you try to market out, you're not going to even get a full fill. And then if it goes against you super hard, you can get liquidated. If you're using leverage, obviously. How far can this go? It's anybody's guess, right? It's anybody's guess. This thing looks like it has been traded for a long time. All the way back since May of this year. So clearly a garbage chart, right? Absolute garbage. It might be just manipulation that's causing the bounce today, or the shorts just got out of it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin both. Ethereum's down almost 4%. So it's already had a pretty significant move to the downside. Let's see what our average true range is on Ethereum right now. ATR is $179. Go from the open. Yeah, so you've already moved what is normal for Ethereum to move in a daily range. So if you're expecting a big down day, you could see a much bigger move lower. But if I was looking for targets, target would be hit. That would be targets. So I'm probably not looking to open up fresh shorts on Ethereum today. Not since it's already moved down this far. Japanese yen is weak today because the dollar is so strong. Your dollar is literally ripping faces off right now, which is odd. I know everybody's expecting the dollar to go down because of rate cuts, but we've seen this last year. Remember, last year when we started rate cuts last year back in Q4. And all of Q4 on the DXY, even though we were in a rate cutting cycle, the dollar exploded higher for the entire quarter. It wasn't until the brand new year opened up and then the dollar rolled over. So we have a new quarter opening up. So for everybody that thinks like this is super bearish, the markets are getting killed, blah, 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 please understand that you are just a few days away, less than a week away from a brand new quarter open. So all the downside that we see on Bitcoin, Ethereum, risk markets, all the way until Wednesday could just simply be prices heading lower, getting ready for Q4 upswing. If the 4-year cycle model is going to play out this year for Bitcoin, you're not looking for shorts until November, December. That fits the 4-year market cycle thesis, right? So you wouldn't even be looking for shorts yet on Bitcoin. So basically what I'm saying is we could pull back and the dollar can keep moving higher all the way until Wednesday of next week. And then Wednesday of next week, which would be in this area, we could actually see a rip your face off rally. If people do come in and buy up the quarterly open. I do not see a macro reason to be selling risk markets right now other than it's extended and it needs to pull back. That's it. Like, that's the only thing we got. Everything else supports a bullish market. So more than likely I will be looking to buy some of these things that pull back pretty heavily near the open of the quarter. Because that's typically when I like to be positioning myself to catch a quarter candle. So here's what Bitcoin looks like on the quarter. So looks pretty extended, right? On log, it doesn't look that bad. On log, it actually looks like it's just been in a very clean, very simple to trade bull market. You should just be buying dips, and we'll see what happens in Q4. You are trading right now under Q2's high. What happened here? Oh, caps lock. Q2's high. And that will be relative moving on, because in Q4, if we get back above Q2's high, then I would want to be bullish. So let's get rid of the old daily res here. Let's get rid of yesterday's low and the Fibonacci, because as we already know, we rejected August's range, right? This is the 618 of August's range. That's why this is where resistance came in. This move up for the whole month of September was a dead cat bounce, and people sold the 618 retracement. If you fib August's range, right? Because that's your August high, there's your August low. So if you fib that, then you would have known to be careful looking for longs up here, which we discussed this like all month long. We were looking for this area to become resistance before price was even up here. So you got to be careful buying highs. Got to be careful buying highs. But now you're pulling back to the 236 of August range. I don't think that August's range is very relevant any longer, seeing how we're in the last. This is September's low here. Seeing how we're in the last week of September, we're getting ready to go into October. So now the Fibonacci range that's going to be important moving on will be September's. Now, September's monthly range right now is bullish. As long as you're above the open of September, the candle is up, objectively speaking. So I like to pull my fibs on bullish candles from range low to range high, and then that would give you your 618, your 786 retracement. So looking at Bitcoin in that manner, you're only pulling back to the 618 retracement of September's range. So absolutely support could form here. If you look at these swing lows here, they are each 4-day period here has been a lower low, but it's not a significant lower low, right? You're not closing candles under the lower lows in every single one. So where do we close today? It will be important. All right, it'll be important. Looking at MicroStrategy, I don't like a buy here based on just the 618 retracement. You do have a daily support zone here as well. That's going to be daily support. Once again, not the greatest level in the world. I would much rather be looking for longs at a higher time frame and objective level. This weekly open could be that level for you, right? I'm not saying that you can't look for longs. I'm not saying that me being short here is the right trade. It was yesterday. Today, it could be a whole new thing. We are seeing the VIX expand. The VIX is up on highs. The S&P 500 is right now making fresh daily lows. So, and MicroStrategy is way under the August low. And MicroStrategy, for me, is important to kind of gauge the strength of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, MicroStrategy owns so much Bitcoin at this point. It's literally a fresh breakdown here. Notice how you could not even close a single daily candle under August's low in the month of September. Not one until yesterday. Boom. Now you are gapping way down. So this actually looks like a beautiful short setup. And you are seeing downside continuation. So the sellers are in control of MicroStrategy. It's clear. If the sellers are in control of MicroStrategy, then they are probably more than likely in control of Bitcoin as well. So be careful buying support. Just make sure your risk is mitigated. If you know what you're expecting to lose on the long, then it's fine to take the long, because you already know what you're willing to lose on it. And that's how you trade, literally. It's late in the month. Very late. So putting on new positions, not the best strategy, but there's 5 days, and we know at least 2 of those days are going to be weekend days. So Saturday and Sunday. So really and truly, there's only 3 normal days of trade left in this monthly candle. So these 3 or 5 days could be choppy. It could be range bound. We could break down a little bit lower today. Maybe retest the weekly 21 exponential again and find support there. Who knows, right? We can't predict what price will do. That's not our job. Our job is to simply mitigate our risk and look for higher probable entries at objective levels. And unfortunately, XMR is being a piece of garbage. So obviously not a trap here, because this candle did make an advance and a higher close. Yeah, not seeing a clean setup here for the short on XMR any longer. It could be a short. My only problem with it is every time you put it on, it's like you're going to get stopped out. And how many times do you eat a stop before you say, I'll leave it alone? You know what I mean? So let me see if I can find a setup on maybe one of these other big movers today that is not Labubu. So BTR has surpassed Labubu. Well, the only reason it has surpassed Labubu is because Labubu is pulled back. I don't even like saying the word Labubu. So goofy. So goofy. But here is BTR USDT. It looks like it's in expansionary phase here. And you are pulling back for a midpoint check of this expansion candle. So if this is going to move up, BTR USDT, it's up right now 37%. So since Labubu has pulled back off the daily high, that has now put BTR in the top spot for 24-hour change. So this is your top mover for now, or right this second. If we get one that we don't see down here start to move its way up and it has millions of tokens traded, then maybe we can jump onto that one. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty slow day. But let's pull up BTR again and see if there is a buying opportunity here on the intraday. This one also is limiting the amount you can purchase on weeks. It might not be doing that on other exchanges. I don't know. I only trade on weeks when it comes to offshore exchanges. Looking pretty sideways here. Let me go ahead and check out some of these comments real quick. Greetings all, because I do a terrible job of reading the chat. Sorry about that. What's going on? Pants check. No pants. We do not use pants here. We are trading no pants. Why put on a suit in your own house? I understand. It looks professional, obviously, but I'm a Florida boy at heart. No shirt, no shoes, no problem. That's how I approach life. So I'm a no pants, no shirt, no shoes kind of guy. Here we go. What's up, Chase? What's up, the Agile Leader? Wes, BT Billions, Lifestyle Media. How's everybody doing this morning? Janet's thoughts, good morning. So I don't like the intraday structure here with the volume point of control. That just simply means that more volume is traded up here at 12.5 than anywhere else. There's a gigantic volume node down here, so the volume control has migrated higher. So it literally means that you have more people putting on positions up here. Now, we don't know if those guys are buyers or sellers. Seeing how it's the top of the daily range, we can go ahead and use our brain to basically say, yeah, there's a lot of people trying to buy for the breakout, and you have a lot of people trying to short the top. So you're building up a lot of volume up here. This could be good for shorts. So if you want to sell it, at least you have this. But the thing that you have to be worried about, if you are shorting it, it is up 38%. So even though it looks like it's failing the highs, it is still up strong today when everything else is down. So that's one strike against the short. The second strike against the short is if this does find support, like it did down here, this could fuel an upside push as people start hitting the spamming the sell button, right? As people start getting triggered on their stop losses and whatnot, that could force this up higher. Let's go see where we are in terms of all-time highs. We're nowhere near the all-time high. All-time high is up around 17 cents. There's August's high right there. Once again, I do not know what this is or what it does. It's irrelevant, right? Knowing what this does or what it is irrelevant. I'm not looking to buy and own this thing. The last time we got any news on this was August the 26th, as it was a Kraken listing, a KuCoin listing on August 25th, and then July 23rd, you got BTR coming to BitLayer. So no big news driving this pump today, or at least not being displayed on TradingView. There might be some like insider news or something like that within the company that I'm not seeing. It doesn't mean there isn't any news. We can check on Twitter real quick. See if there's any news on this thing. It's September 18th, so that's a long time. That's not going to drive price action today. Long time ago. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on Twitter either. So my guess is there's not a lot of news driving this upside swing. So with that being said, yeah, I mean, it could be being manipulated. If that's the case, they already have a set price at which they want to get out, more than likely. Be careful if you're shorting it. Let me go back to the 4-hour chart here. Let me turn this indicator off. I just want to see where this is. So we are checking the midpoint of that last 4-hour expansion candle. 5-minute close there, 5-minute close here, and then here. So maybe if we tag the 618 and bounce, we could look for longs there. This is a large consolidation range. So I would no longer be looking for longs if we break down under this swing low and see downside continuation. All right, that is the current 4-hour swing low. Oh, no, it is not. Okay. No, it is not. All right. I would much rather buy it if there were news, as far as just taking the long, looking for a short squeeze. I wish, if there was some kind of news that came out like 12, 15 hours ago that was causing volume to come in. We know there's a lot of momentum scalpers in the crypto market. There are a lot of momentum scalpers in the stock market. It's a fantastic way to make, intraday gains. So, a sense, that's who's driving order flow today, it looks like. It's just scalpers, right? We're looking to buy swing lows, looking to capitalize on any short squeeze that may or may not happen. If Bitcoin was up today, I would feel a lot better about it. It's not. So literally there's a whole lot that's going against looking for the long today. The fact that it is only up 30% is, it's big, don't get me wrong. A 34% move on any asset is a gigantic move. But we know these things can run hundreds of percents in a day, depending on the supply and all that. Let's see, is this a low float? So we're looking at this on Binance, and there's quite a bit of volumes trading on a 5-minute basis. As you can see, each candle looks to be a little bit bigger than 10 million tokens. So there is quite a bit of volume being traded on this. And obviously this one is also maxed out as to what I can trade on weeks. I can only buy 3,400 of these. So this is a no trade for me as well. That's less than 1% of my trading capital with 20x leverage. That would be like nothing. That's going to require what, 20 bucks, if that? $2? I have no idea. We did get the bell, and it did seem to sell off right before the bell. Big move down and then no follow through. Not yet. Hard pressed for me to buy it right here, knowing that that swing low is down there. Yeah, I can't trade this. 3,400 is nothing. It's less than 1% of my total account equity. Well, the Bitcoin trade is looking pretty damn good. I guess we're just going to be sitting in this. The Japanese yen is getting beat up because of the dollar. So that's good news, kind of. It's not good news for my USD JPY short, but it's good news for the risk market as a whole, in my opinion. As long as the Japanese yen is weak, then I'm not really concerned with a massive explosion in the VIX. Now, that doesn't mean it can't happen. But at the same time, the Japanese yen is weak. Here's the Japanese yen. The Japanese yen is a risk-on, risk-off currency. When it's going up, that typically means you want to be bearish stocks. But it's going down, and it's going down pretty hard. It's almost back down to the lows that we got 2 NFPs ago. So this was an NFP print. That's what caused the massive move higher. It's been range bound ever since, and it's breaking back to the downside. So this, to me, has good news written all over it. So it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin and the risk markets find support, as long as this asset continues to trend down. That's my opinion. We could go look and see what the Swiss franc is doing today. It's also down, but it's not down significantly. Not like the yen is. If you see negativity, or if you see that if this ends up being a high for the year on the Swiss franc, that also suggests that risk markets are in good shape. Let's go check the yields, as they're probably moving higher given dollar strength, right? And they have been. So there's your 30-year. 30 years still under the yearly open. As long as it's under the yearly open, I like it lower. 20-year. 10 years up almost 1%. Yeah, it literally makes 0 sense because we just got rate cuts, right? So more than likely, you're above the September open here on the 2-year yields. This might be a selling opportunity here. Maybe not today because you got a lot of bullish momentum. So maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow or the next Monday, right? If it rejects here, then I would be expecting it to roll over. Maybe Q3's open, or Q4's open, which will be Wednesday. So let's mark that, and we'll come back and check this Wednesday to see what's going on. Ethereum's getting hammered. It's down almost 5%. I was trying to short Ethereum because Ethereum was the one that I felt like would be more volatile, would give more profits. But I was on the wrong damn chart. So I kind of fat fingered the order there. Seeing a little bit of difficulty making fresh daily lows for right now. The markets did just open. Yeah, VIX is rejecting the yearly opening range. I was kind of expecting a gap down on the VIX today, and it gapped up, so it did reject the yearly open yesterday. Today's close will be important because the last time we got up in here, we did see a pretty big move to the upside on the VIX, almost all the way up to $20. But then the second half of the session, it gave it all back. You did end up closing back under the yearly opening range. And then the rest of the week was, boom, down. So nice buying opportunity on the S&P right there. I mean, if you look at the S&P, it's getting beat up pretty bad here. I know this trend line does not look that good. I think I just tagged it off of the August low, August 1 low, August 22 low. And you've not been able to close any dailies under that yet. And on the daily chart, you haven't even tested it, but on the hourly chart or 30-minute chart, you're trading at it, which makes 0 sense to me. How can you not have tagged it on the daily chart and be on it on the 30-minute chart? I wish TradingView would clear that up for me. Whatever. But anyway, you're under the previous week's midpoint. You're at the previous week's open. So I would not be loving a short here. You are currently tagging right now on the cash market. You are currently tagging the low edge of the expected range for this week. It's got a lot of momentum, so I wouldn't be trying to buy it right this second. But if the day goes on and it struggles to make fresh daily lows, I could be a buyer on the S&P because we are testing the yearly opening range on the VIX. We are testing the low edge of the weekly expected move on the cash market on the SPX. And you are testing the September VWAP. Yes, that is the September open. So this would be your monthly VWAP here. So a few levels of confluence here. You got a weekly open, one level. You got the low edge of the expected move, level 2. Third level being September's VWAP. And then the fourth reason is the VIX is above the yearly opening range. I can't be a buyer as long as this is trading above. If it gets back under today, then I will probably throw on a long call on the ES futures options because it's easier to mitigate risk that way than trading the outright spot price on the futures. All right. I wonder why this indicator, which this indicator is named Spaceman BTC key levels, if you wanted to throw it on there, That way you don't have to identify those objective prices all the time. This does it for you, but that's an objective price I would want to have identified. And it's not identifying it. And then we go back intraday. It's thinking. Taking an hour to do it. Internet's good, so it's going to be a trading view thing. Anyways, I'll pull it up down here. Let's go. Let's go. Where are we at? So here you are. I know it looks bad, but so all of these levels, Monday's high, previous week high, Monday mid, weekly open, day open, Monday low, previous week mid, previous week low, previous month high, monthly open, previous month mid, but no previous week open. That level not there. But here is that indicator for anybody that wants to use it. Wait a minute here. Where are my favorites? Right here. Okay. It is right there. A lot of people use this indicator. 10,000. So you can pause the video if you want to use it. I like to mark them myself. Someone brought this up to me just to be helpful, right? But I like to mark them myself. But there you go. So levels of confluence here looks pretty rough today. It's been a pretty easy sell-off, right? Boom, boom, boom. If you see price consolidating at resistance and no ability to put in bullish accumulation above, that is a typical good signal that someone is soaking up the bids, right? When you're bullish, you see breakouts above resistance. Like, for instance, what XMR has been doing, okay? This would be your resistance, and you're putting in these higher moves and accumulation and moves higher, right? So you don't want to short this when this is happening because you're actually seeing bullish continuation. So if you want to be a seller, that's when you want to be a seller. When you see the inability to trade higher, you can look to put on those short positions. So here you did get the ability to trade higher. So here, this would have been a little bit more difficult short to put on. But ultimately, when it broke back down, that would have been a pretty good signal, especially when it went into sideways consolidation and then failed. So right now, you don't necessarily want to be a buyer because your momentum is lower. You are more than likely oversold on basically every time frame. I guarantee that. Or at least on your lower time frames, like your 30-minute hourlies. Maybe not so much on the 4-hour. Let's go see. Yeah, you're even tagging oversold on the 4-hour. They're looking for buys here. Not the greatest plan, because you're seeing continuation lower. Right now, you're consolidating the losses, right? Now, if you spend a couple hours down here chopping, then maybe you could look for a liquidity purge and then a range bound move back into the range, then be a buyer. If you get stopped out after that, then you just leave it alone for the rest of the day because it's a lot weaker than people assume. But obviously, people are going to be looking to be a buyer here. The Japanese yen is pushing on fresh lows as we're speaking. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? But the dollar is just so damn strong. That's why we're seeing the yen be so weak. The dollar is crushing everything today. Absolutely spanking everybody. We opened the fresh week right here, and we smoked the previous week's high, and then had a bearish move, and then Tuesday opened up, put in a swing high, and put in another bearish move. Yesterday is when we've seen that bullish advance happen. Fresh weekly high for the second time in the weekly range. So at that point, you're not looking to be a seller, right? So people start to get out of those DXY shorts, and now we're seeing a pretty sizable expansion to the upside here again. A lot of short sellers caught offsides here on the dollar. That's why we're seeing a rapid expansion up away from the trend line. This is July's fib, not August's, because we're still trading inside July's range. All right, you're still in a multi-month consolidation here on the dollar. Currently trading above the midpoint of that range. One could also fib August's range, but that's going to make it very, very ugly and hard to decipher your fib levels. This is a long-term trend line. This trend line goes all the way back to 2011. I've got both the line chart. This blue line is the weekly line chart. And then this dotted green line just gets all of the wicks on all time frames. All time frame wicks. Boom, boom, boom. So that's basically all you did was liquidated the lows, right? And you're seeing a move higher. Very choppy, very range-bound price action, but the bulls are getting a nice upside expansion. So what I'm going to do on the dollar is I'm going to wait until next week to see what it does in Q4's open. Because if it finds resistance pretty quickly in the new quarter, then I would want to be a seller then. If it doesn't find resistance, like in the first week of Q4, then I have to say something else is going on here. But right now, this could just be a short covering rally. Also, you have a lot of people expecting that downside dollar. So this could be one reason why we're seeing weakness today. S&P's bouncing pretty good here. At the low edge expected range. That price is 65.81. I get these levels from the options market. The options market every week gives you the weekly expected move. Been tracking those levels for a long time, as you can see on this chart. Long time. I've manually put these levels in myself. But it makes sense that sellers would chill out down here, right? It makes sense. What is Bitcoin doing? It is also bouncing. The VIX is kind of rejecting the yearly opening range right now. Usually on the first bounces, we got to be cautious because these moves usually get sold into. That's that weekly open. It's the previous week's, not the previous week. The previous week is all the way up here. It's 2 weeks ago. It's the second week in September is what that is. It's a lot to write down. NQ gapping, crapping. Yeah, a lot of things are this morning. No shirt, no shoes, no problem. Love it. Yeah, they used to display those signs on stores everywhere in Florida, on the beach especially, like little restaurants and 7-Elevens and whatnot. Could you do the same fib reading for me on Solana, please? Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I'm just objectively looking at trend, the long term and the near term. So I only really care about what we're doing in the year of 2025 first and foremost, because that's the year we're in. 2024, everybody's already paid taxes on that year, so nobody gives a shit about that year, right? So I do want to know though if we're trading inside of the previous year's range, and we're still trading inside of the previous year's range. So we're not seeing an upside expansionary year, but at least for the year, you are objectively up, right? So that's trend identification 101. So you put in your yearly high back in January, then we rolled over and set the lows for most markets in April. Not all of them, but most of them set the yearly low in April. That was for Solana, also at the 2024 yearly opening range. Then you have seen an upside expansion pretty much every month since then. So Solana has in a sense just rejected the high month close. That's the highest monthly close of all time. You traded above it for a brief, maybe a day or two, and then rejected. Well, it was for a week or two, right? So a lot of choppy sideways garbage up there. I would have been very concerned with that kind of price action up there. But anyway, so we're trading above August's high. We were. Now we're back in August's range. So the expansion in September has failed. It doesn't mean it will keep failing. It just means so far it has failed. So the fib for August wouldn't really be helpful here, right? It really wouldn't be that helpful because you made fresh monthly highs. You just didn't see, once you broke back under that high, you lost your upside expansion. So to be fair, Solana looks better than other cryptos because you haven't even tested August's midpoint yet. Even though you're trading back in August's range, even though briefly today you were right on the month, you're still stronger than Bitcoin because Bitcoin is rejecting August's midpoint. Solana was bullish in August, whereas Bitcoin was bearish in the month of August. Now, as far as yearly returns go, Bitcoin is stronger than Solana, right? You're only up 6% on the year with Solana. Bitcoin's up more than that. So August was an expansion month. So what I would expect for Solana to do is find support at the midpoint of August's range. So this is where I'd want to be a buyer on Solana. Since you also have the yearly opening range down there, that could also help. Now here's the thing. traded very choppy back in August at the September range, or at the yearly opening range, and then we saw bullish expansion. So it would be a lot better if Solana could hold these higher levels as support. It would be a lot better. So you could be a buyer on Solana because you're testing the September open right now. And you are rejecting on the VIX. There's kind of a lot of risk here still. Like if you were to buy the September open, you would have to at least get your stop down under the daily low, and that's a 1.77% move. So you would have to be opening a very small position with light leverage in order to set in that trade. But I mean, if it can find support here for a few days, then I would be more prone to be a buyer at like a daily support level or a 4-hour swing. And unfortunately, the 4-hour swing is all the way up there. You see what I mean? So it's not really giving us like the best setup. This is a big wick. There's still almost 2 hours on this candle. So this candle could close down here. We don't know how it's going to close yet. But if it closes like this, it's going to look like at least a near-term reversal may be happening. So there's still some work to be done on this chart to be able to say, yeah, support is probably in. Because right now the VIX is currently like testing the midpoint of the day range. So I wouldn't be calling this a rejection yet, but with that aggressive down move there on the VIX, that does look pretty damn good, right? It does look like maybe the vol sellers are back in town. And if the vol sellers are back in town, then I would want to be bullish on risk. I mean, on the cash market, you've almost completely wiped out the entire down move. Like you're almost about to make fresh daily highs on the S&P. Now, that's what I mean. Like you don't want to get real bearish down here at these levels. When I say those things, it's because of experience. Like you're in a bull market. Just because the dollar's doing something that we think it shouldn't be doing doesn't mean that we're back into a bear market at all. That Japanese yen is a huge signal for me. It's super weak today. And it's not only weak because of the dollar, right? We can look at the currency futures watch list. Let me pull this up for you real quick. So here's all of the currency futures. Now clearly news can be driving this. Currencies are weird, but you can see that the Canada dollar is stronger than the yen, right? Because you're only down 0.09%. So the yen isn't the weakest. I mean, it isn't like, it's weaker than the Canadian dollar. So, in a risk-off move, I would want to see the yen stronger than all the other currencies. The fact that it's weaker than the Canadian dollar, that tells us that it's not only weak because the dollar is strong, it's also weak because you have legit sellers. Oh, sorry, you can't see it here. Okay, so here's where the Canadian dollar currently is. So it's down 0.09%. So the Canadian dollar is stronger than the Japanese yen. Since we're seeing a risk off move in the markets, we would want to see the yen stronger than all the other currencies to confirm that risk off move. The fact that the yen isn't as weak as the pound or the euro, that's kind of irrelevant. It shouldn't be the weakest asset. It isn't, right? The Swiss franc is actually weaker. The pound is weaker. Even the euro is weaker. So this weak move on the yen isn't only being driven by strength in the dollar, is what I'm trying to say. It is also being driven by yen sellers, which is typically, that's not bad. Like, you would want to see a weak yen if you did have a bullish bias. Like, if you were looking to be a buy the dip trader for swing trades on the risk markets, you would want to do that on pullbacks in the risk market with a weak yen. And that's currently what we have. So even though the VIX is rallying today, because the yen isn't rallying, we know that it's not a super strong risk off move. That's all that means. But it could change at, like, whoever is, like, you know, those arb traders could ultimately fix that later on in the session. But as of right now, the session looks okay. You're now up on the day on the S&P as far as candlestick is concerned. You're still down 0.4% because you're lower than where you closed yesterday. But as far as the daily move, where we open the range, you're up. You're making fresh day highs now on the cash market. In order to be positive on the percent change, you would need to get back above the close of yesterday. People will probably try to sell the gap fill. People that expect more weakness, right? I would only be looking to sell gap fill if the down here, this low on the weekly expected range, if the yen was strong. I look to be a dip buyer in bull markets. A dip buyer. This just took off a little bit too quick for me to get a position. If it comes back and holds support and the yen stays weak all day, then I will buy the dip. Yeah. But Solana, same thing. Like, it's pushing up because Bitcoin is, because ES is. Like, your bigger cryptos, the ones that have heavy trading volumes and that have a worth or a use case, they're going to trade similarly to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin has found support, I would expect Solana has more than likely found support as well. Though clearly if Bitcoin finds support, that's going to wreak havoc on my short. But that could help something like BTR, which was the asset we were looking at to see if it was going to find support. You can see it, nice big move lower here, but it's not weak. You're not testing the 5-minute 200. It trades sideways for quite a long time, 45, 50 minutes, and then you start to see it trade out of the range. So if people are literally buying the dip, then we would expect a breakout to occur. You are making higher lows. You're wedging up, right? You are currently wedging up on this. I guess one could just do something like that. Well, to be fair, you did break down out of that, but you're still wedging up. So anybody that's short from up here at the point of control or higher to the high of day, anybody that's short in this block of price, like 12.5 to 13, they're going to be concerned until price rolls over and starts making fresh lower lows and lower highs, till it actually starts trending. So if we look at our moving average structure, I have no clue what's taking this thing so long. Let's close this. So if you look at your 1 minute moving average structure, you are currently trying to change that structure, right? You're trying to go to bearish. I don't know why the 200 simple is in there. We don't care about the 200 simple on intraday charts, because the exponentials put more weight on near-term price. But you can see now the 21 is back above the 50, and the 50 is trying to get back above the 200 right now. So it did flip to bearish right here when the 50 crossed the 200, but you couldn't get bearish continuation. So it doesn't mean it's going to break out to the upside. I'm just saying anybody that was shorting in here, they didn't get their move. They didn't get what they wanted to see. They wanted to see it break down and start trending lower. Not only did that not happen, it actually broke back out to the upside and is currently trying to build in support at a higher level. And if that occurs, then you may see a rally. I just can't buy it because I can only buy 3,400 of them. That's not enough to even be bothered. Like, this thing would need to move 1,000% for me to make any money on it. I don't know why Weeks puts limits on some of these things. I have no idea why they do that. It's my money. I should be able to buy as many of these as I want to. Maybe they are doing it to try to protect retail traders from not blowing up their accounts, because it is volatile. It doesn't seem like it's volatile, but it is. It is moving quite a bit. This 1 minute candle right here from open to close is a 4.16% move. That's 4%. That's a pretty big move. If you got leverage on, that's a very big move. So it does look like the buyers are trying to soak up the sellers. We don't know if they'll be successful or not, obviously. But it does look more constructive right now than it does bearish. Especially with pump and dumps, because pump and dumps usually pump to a specific price and then like dump. There's no doubt in your mind that it's a pump and dump, because like every 1 minute candle is lower highs, lower lows. It's definitely not consolidation like we're seeing here. Just be very careful if you are trading these momentum plays. MSTR shit the bed. Yes, it did. It absolutely did. Absolutely did. It's looking rough. Could this ultimately just be a run below the lowest low for the last few months? Yeah. But if you look at this on a monthly chart, you are currently seeing downside continuation. So you're no longer range bound, right? You broke out of the range last month. You set a fresh monthly low. And then this month you traded back up to resistance and rejected. So you are seeing that 2-month downtrend continue. So it would be a hard pressed buy here. You would be buying against bearish momentum. It could be a liquidation break, but you've got a long way to go to prove that is even happening. You know what I mean? So I would probably just leave MicroStrategy alone for right now. Unless you're selling cash secured puts. If you're selling cash secured puts, even then it's kind of the wrong time to do that. You want to sell cash secured puts when you're trading inside of monthly ranges. Right now you're trending lower than August's low, so you would be trying to sell a cash secured put while the market is currently trending lower. Wouldn't make a whole lot of it wouldn't be like the best time to put on a cash secured put. The best time to put on a cash secured put would be wait for October to open. If it takes out September's low and then gets back above September's low, then maybe you could sell like 280 strike puts or something like that. Because at least then you would be back in the range, right? And if you're back under September's low again, then you get out because you are trending. So you would just eat that loss. But the best time to sell cash secured puts is when you're range bound, when you're trading inside of monthly ranges. In the UK, we always wear pants. Yeah. Retail is making money today. Yeah, not many of them, but some of them probably. BTC currently setting up a big fat bull trap. I'd have gone all in if I hadn't been liquidated by this exact move 100 times in the past. A bull trap? Maybe you meant bear trap? Bitcoin would be setting a bull trap. Are you talking about like on an intraday? You didn't specify time frame, so I don't want to. I'm not gonna try to correct you or anything like that, but maybe you're just meaning this right here. Maybe you're expecting this to get sold into. I don't know. But it would be a bear trap if it rejects these prices down here. This is a bearish move, so if it rejects and then starts moving up, that would be classified as a bearish trap. But time frame matters, right? You may be looking at a 30-second chart for all I know. Yeah. Can anyone recommend a training vid or something for weeks? Thanks. I used to do those. I had one on BitGet. Not many people look at those. So I never did do one on weeks, but it's fairly simple. Fairly simple. Maybe one day during a Discord session, I'll do it for you. But every day I'm executing orders on weeks. It's fairly simple. It's just like any other exchange. They're basically all the same. They just have different colors. But most offshore exchange platforms that I've used over my 15 years, they're all identical almost. The operating systems are all the same. Not operating system, but user interface is what I meant. The UI are all the same. So if you've traded on BitGet or Binance or any of them, they're very similar. Bill Henson says, I think you can add previous week in the settings. Oh, okay. That could be it, Bill. Maybe that's what it is. He's talking about the Bitcoin indicator, or this not indicator, but yeah, I guess it would be an indicator, the Spaceman key level indicator. Amazon lower. Yeah, let's go look at Amazon real quick. Someone else asked to look at it yesterday. So Amazon ultimately did reject the yearly opening range, and it has a little bit of downside continuation happening today. But the key levels that we're looking at here for this under the yearly opening range would be the July open or the August open. We weren't able to get to the August open. It's in a multi-month range. Now, the problem with Amazon for me is it rejected at the high month close. This is your high month close, the highest monthly close of all time. You were unable to get above that in July. You were unable to trade above it in August. And in September, you did get above it, but you almost instantly rejected. Right? You got above it for one day, and then boom. So that is a failed breakout. And then you had a nice little trade right back up into daily supply. You didn't tag the exact supply zone for me, which would have been the open of that bullish candle. But I mean, if you included the whole candle, you would have been able to put on a trade to the downside, as that would have been considered a rejection. But that's neither here nor there. That's cherry picking data, right? What is Amazon objectively doing? It is objectively trading inside of a multi-month range. So I don't like the failure here, but as far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't lose August's open, then I wouldn't be targeting August's low. Okay? So if it's still trading above even July's open, then at least all we can say is it's a pullback. It may still find support. I wish it would have held support at the yearly open, but it's been trading at the yearly open for multiple months. So it makes sense that it did dig into the range a little bit deeper. But all in all, you're still in a 3-month range. This is your range right here. So as long as you're trading inside of this red box, Amazon is still fine. It isn't until we break down under the August low and then get downside continuation will we need to worry about Amazon. Only until this occurs. If this never occurs, then we can be put sellers on Amazon. We can be buying Amazon at objective levels. Just make sure you're mitigating your risk. Right? You are losing downside momentum, but it's only for the last couple days. You had a lot of downside momentum on Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday, you haven't really been able to make a lot of headway with that bearish push. It's still early in the session. We're only 1 hour into today's trading. So obviously there's a lot more trading to be happened today. But if you were to close like this, I would be more bullish Amazon than bearish. Simply because the bears, for whatever reason, they're backing off down here. They're not showing me that fear, that scary emotion that you typically see when you see big down moves, right? Because people just want to bail. They just say, hit the road, Jack. And that causes massive moves lower. You're not really seeing that here. It's like they love the short up here. Down here, they do not love the short. Like I said, there's still a whole lot of hours left today, and you still got tomorrow. But as long as we're trading above August's low, as far as I'm concerned, I still have more of a bullish bias on this. Let's go just check the weekly 21. So this will be the first kind of bad signal for me. It's already kind of bad because we're rejecting the yearly opening range, right? We are failing to make higher highs for the yearly range. You have not made fresh yearly highs yet. You got to get above February's high to make a fresh yearly high. So that's a little bit concerning, but it's still in line with a buying opportunity. Right? It's just, it's still in price discovery. It's still in range bound. It's still range bound trading. So yeah, I still like Amazon. as long as it's trading above August's low. You have earnings coming up in October, so it's almost a month away, right? A little bit less than a month away. So if you were going to sell puts in Amazon, cash secured puts under 211? Yeah, 211.42. So that would be like, okay, I want to sell puts on Amazon under 210 or at 210. So let's pull up AMZN and see what kind of premiums we can get, but we want to get out of that position before earnings, because you never want to be holding short puts or calls during earnings, because the risk is too great, especially short calls, because you have unlimited upside risk. So we would want to sell like the 29-day out or the 22-day out, or even closer, 15 days out. So we would just drop down to the 210 strike. Is there enough premium on that strike to sell it? Yeah. There's $183 worth of premium on that. So depending on how much money you have in your account, if you have enough money in your account to control 100 shares of Amazon, and you're willing to be a buyer of Amazon at 210, then instead of waiting for support to break down, or instead of waiting for price to get all the way down here, you can go ahead and start putting that capital to work by selling that premium, and you would generate a revenue of $183 with every contract you sell. Right? So you can go ahead, and you're already willing to put that capital to work because you already want to own Amazon. So it makes sense to go ahead and generate a couple $100 extra while price is nowhere near the level you want to own the shares at, right? So Amazon, although you are trending down and you are making fresh lows in September, you are still trading inside of August's range. So maybe go out 15 days and put that trade on, or 2 weeks, and then do it again as long as you're not trading under the August open. As long as you're trading above this, you can sell these cash secured puts and make a little bit of money. Let's go to Bitcoin, as BTR is not doing anything. Well, I'll just pull it up here. Yeah. I really wish I would have put that on with a normal size position, because I would have been able to take profits on the low of day today. I still could, take profits, but it's not much. I generally look to make about $300 a day on this small account. But yeah, it is what it is. Had a good week. Thank you for the super chat, the Agile Leader. I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks, Heath. Wish I had joined here last week before I bought on Sol. Live and learn. It's okay, man. Just make sure you're mitigating your risk. We don't want to lose more than 1 or 2% of our total account equity in any given trade. But losing a trade is no problem. It's going to happen. It's going to happen many more times in your trading career, my friend. It's managing those losses that's what makes us successful in doing this. Keeping those losses small and nailing those big winners. That's what makes us profitable. Adam says, can you please check SMLR? Yeah. I've never traded this. It's down pretty significantly on the year. It's at a yearly support, but when you're talking about a yearly support, you got to wait for the yearly candle to close before you can say support is held or not. You're trading very, very range bound. They had a very good quarter in Q4 last year. This year, they haven't been able to see any of that success. And I would have to ask myself why, right? Why did it have a massive explosion the last quarter of last year? And then why has it been trending down all year this year? So see how this month traded up to but below August's high? So there's your August high. Look at what you did in August. You broke down below support. Your monthly support would have been here at 32.27, as that's your lowest monthly close. You held support here. You held support there. You traded under it, but you ultimately closed back above. So that's support hold. In August, you broke that support. So in September, you moved up, and you moved up even above August's open. This is considered a dead cat bounce, right? People will not see it that way, but the way I analyze price, that's exactly what this is. You have to look at the month of September as a dead cat bounce the same way that we were looking at the month of September for Bitcoin being a dead cat bounce, because the month of August was a trending down month. You were trending lower all month long. You were making fresh monthly lows over and over and over again. So for the entire month of August, you were trending lower. So this spike on the daily chart here, right? This consolidation and spike was nothing more than a short covering rally. That's what causes dead cat bounces. Whoever shorted it up here, large position holders, more than likely seen the unwillingness of this to trade lower, so they exited their short positions. That caused a short covering rally or a dead cat bounce. Or maybe some bullish news came out, right? Caused a big gap up, but it's still within the downtrend. So people probably waited to see how this day panned out. And once it closed back under August, that August open then became the short seller's entry point based on that objectivity. Like, whatever this is, I don't know what its fundamentals are, but on a technical basis, like when you analyze price objectively, technically, you can see that that dead cat bounce was a perfect opportunity for a short. And so far, it is working. So it would be hard pressed for me to buy this knowing that we couldn't even get above August's high before the sellers came right back. Now, one could argue and say they're selling it because of the 200 EMA, or they were selling it because of the daily 100 EMA. It's potato patata, right? It doesn't really matter why. We just know that they're back. And since the last month was a downtrending month, we have to be worried that we're going to see that trend continue in the future, because price action is giving us a key, like a huge signal, like, hey, this looks like it wants to go lower. Now that's the way I would analyze it. More than likely that was news, right? More than likely that was news. Looking at this on the 4 hour, I'm like, what is that, dude? Yeah, it was just a big gap up. Huge gap up. Pre-market. And they hammered it down hard. And then every spike, every move back up close to that August open was a selling opportunity. And now here you are. So this thing trades crazy. It's super volatile. But as long as the August open, as long as price is trading under this, I would have to have a bearish bias on it. Me, myself, and I. I could, in theory, take a short on this today, as long as it doesn't start making higher daily intraday highs. Like, if we start closing 30-minute candles above the 100 exponential here on the 30-minute time frame, I could be a seller on this. Even though we had this massive volatile move. And this happened during normal market hours. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this thing, but the volume dried up quickly. This has very thin liquidity. Intraday liquidities are very thin on this. That probably tells me that I definitely would not want to be. This would not. Yeah, it does have options. It doesn't have weeklies. And the spreads are very wide. So I wouldn't trade this. Not with options. So I would have to sell the shares, and I can only do that as long as it's closing 30-minute candles under 31.74. If that's happening, then I can be short. At least on the near term. It's looking like it's trying to repair the daily 21, but for me that's really neither here nor there, seeing what kind of reaction took place up there at August's open. I would still have a bearish bias all the way up to there. Now, if you take out August's high, which is up here, and you see upside continuation, then you can say something is different. Something has changed, right? Because you did that back in May. You took out the previous month's high, and you've seen upside continuation. It even closed above it. But the problem is the next month, the sellers didn't believe that rally. They didn't believe it. It's just a super volatile stock. You just got to be careful with it. But yeah, every rejection from here on out, up at 34.92, I would be a seller, not a buyer. But it is like putting in some sort of a longer term rounding bottom here. So you would want to see that hold. We could probably do something like this. Right? Doesn't really fit. But you do have a rounding bottom here. This is also known as a cup and handle pattern, but you haven't put in the handle yet. This would actually be the handle, because you did break out of the rounding bottom. But this is on a monthly time frame. So, like, I mean, that would be a stretch for me to buy it. Based on August's price action, because August was the month that broke down. Be careful if you're trading that. Retail usually chases the gap. They look for gap and goes all the time. Yes, they do. Technically speaking, your gap would be filled at 66.22. But I mean, obviously it's not, because the real gap fill happens at 66.30A. But technically speaking, gaps don't have to fill, guys. Please be careful if you're trading for gap fills and whatnot. Every gray line you see on this chart is an unfilled gap. Okay? All these gray shaded areas, these are all unfilled gaps where the market made a gap and it never filled. But price traded away from the gap. Many gaps unfilled. It's probably close enough for sellers to hit it, not me, because this is the bottom edge of the expected move. If the VIX closes back under the yearly opening range, I'm going to look at this as a potential buying opportunity. So I don't want to be a seller here. I could, though. There is enough points. Like, don't get me wrong. There is enough points. This is a pretty volatile move. If I can get 10 points, then I can be a scalper. And I can. It would be if I were able to catch the short at 616. Right? 16.06 would be my downside target. That would be a 10-point scalp. So there's plenty of points in today's range to be a scalper. Intraday VWAP is way down here. Never mind the moving averages. Just looking at the VWAP, it's all the way down here. So your higher low buyers will start to try to be a buyer at 65.98. Be careful. Did you look at AWE USDT? No. We have a new one that's moving up, Clay USDT. Oh, it's already given it back, and that's a nasty chart. There's not enough liquidity. AWE? No, I don't even know what that is. Let me go look at it. It's not on the scanner. I mean, it's been moving up, but not today. Like, yeah. Yeah, I don't see a setup today on it, but yeah, no, this thing is getting hammered right now. I would only be looking to buy something if it was building in support. Like this. Like, I would have absolutely been watching this to be a trap. And it did say it was a trap. So on this candle, I would have been a buyer at demand. Because it's literally sideways, building in support. Here, you're not building in support. You're coming off of a higher week 4-hour expansion, and then boom. So this is getting beat down hard right now. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't something that I'd be focusing on. It's not even up on the day anymore. It could be up on a 24-hour basis, but no, I've never even heard of this. It's a stable. Oh, no, it ain't. You're saying something else. King Money says, I'm looking for a long position on Ethereum, and I see the 3900 zone as support on the daily. I'm just entertaining the idea for now. All right, let's go look. 3900 as support. It's an old daily res. right? You have an old high close here. So when you finally broke out of it, you did confirm it as support on this day by trading down into it, finding support, and then expanding. So it's 38.73. My problem with it is it's breaking below a lot of the things that I would want to see it held at. Like, it's got quite a bit of bearish momentum. Your Monday breakdown, then you went into a period of 2 days of consolidation. You consolidated the breakdown. So just like we look for consolidation on the up rips, right? We see this breakout move here. We get going. We have 3 days of expansion, 1 day, 2 day, third day of expansion. Fourth day, you make a higher high, but fail to close on higher highs. Then you have a down day, then another up day, but it's still consolidating, right? You're still trading under this wick high. So we would be looking to buy this because this is support, right? There's your daily close. That would have been support. We would have been looking to be a buyer on this day or this day when we traded back down into that range. Now, if you come back over here, we were trading down, then we put in an up move, then we broke down. We traded sideways for 2 days, broke down again. Traded sideways for 2 days, broke down again. So you're actually going in the wrong direction. Now, could it find support? Absolutely. But you would be looking for a V-shaped recovery. You would need to see a V-shaped recovery. All right. So it's going to be a difficult long. You're trying to buy something that is currently showing you a breakdown, a fresh breakdown after 2 days of consolidation. Not the best time to buy. I myself would much rather see a consolidationary period and a daily bearish close hold on next day closes and next day closes, right? So like we can see where buying while price was trending lower works. So you're breaking down, consolidating, 3 day consolidation breakdown, 2 day consolidation breakdown. So this is putting in the same pattern that we're seeing now. So what I would want to see, this would be my support that I'd be watching. Never mind that it's September's low. Just forget about that for now. So I would want to see support build in here. Okay, so support actually is trying to build in here. Even higher, which would be better if it can hold. But I can be a buyer down here if it can hold, right? There you go. There's your first sign that support held. You even took out this candle's high. So moving on from this day, I would definitely want to be a buyer on any pullback into this white line right here, 43.13. Now, it doesn't mean I'll make money. And it doesn't mean I would be right. But at least with this candle, I can say, okay, it does look like it's trying to rally. So now at least I can be a buyer on support tests. Okay? Boom. So I just got stopped out, right? If I would have bought that, I would have been stopped out. Okay, I'm still not done. Support is still holding. So I lost one trade. And I see this. This looks like it wants to go lower, but it made a higher high. A very choppy. So you can see the give and pull that is happening here. Buyers are trying to buy support. And sellers are selling resistance. So one of them is going to be right. It's not a V-shaped recovery, but at least it's telling us that it may be holding one more lower close. So your supports are no longer holding here, but you're still not breaking down here. So this has to be your entry point for any longs. And you don't get it. You missed it. So it just ran without us. But I would need to see something like, at least show me evidence that there's a fight for the level. So today would be a little bit early. Right? Be a little bit early. But if we can go another, and then you're going to have one more day tomorrow. So Friday. Then you're going to go into the weekend. Saturday and Sunday. Those days aren't really going to count for me. Like those are two very sideways, nobody trading type of days. But if wherever today closes, if that can then start to hold and build in a few days of sideways, then maybe we could look to be a buyer. Right now, it would be a little early. Unless you get a V-shaped reversal, which sometimes does happen. And I myself have caught them. But it's just straight luck when I did, you know what I mean? Because it could have just kept going down. The fact that it reversed there was just straight luck. But I agree with your level. Yeah, it's an old daily swing high. So it could act as a support zone. To give you more confluence on that zone, right? It's actually July's high, so it's a big level. It's not just a daily swing. You also have a monthly swing. And not only that, we have August's range fibbed here. So for the month of September, Ethereum is an inside month, right? It's a small inside monthly range, which we do typically want to look for upside continuation. So similar to how Ethereum traded way back here, right? It put in this long-term consolidation where it was ripping, taking out longs and shorts, but then ultimately set the V-shaped recovery. Well, you could see that happen here. It happened here. And you do have objective levels to watch. You've got July's high. You also have the 618 retracement of August's range. So if it is going to put in a V-shaped recovery, then I would want to see that happen here. I'm not saying you can't take the trade. Just make sure your risk is mitigated. Be willing to risk 1 to 2% to see if you're right. Because if you are right, and this ends up being the low for the month of September, you will have nailed it. And then if you get an upside expansion for the month of October, you bought the September low, that's going to be a beautiful trade, right? That will have been a magnificent trade. And you do have 2 objective levels to watch. August midpoint, July's high. Daily support, or it's not even, it's an old daily resistance. But yeah, could work. Absolutely. So how would I go about trading that for a V-shaped recovery? For me, myself, and I, moving forward today. Like say I want to get long thinking that a V-shaped recovery is going to happen here, depending on what happens with the VIX today, right? Then I would be watching this level right here, this 4-hour swing low. As long as price fails to trade under that point, I can be a buyer right here. I won't nail the bottom tick, but if it does end up being a V bottom, and we do see an October bullish expansion, I won't give a shit about not nailing that low tick. My bullish entry would look really, really good. And it would generate a lot of returns. So it is an interesting area to be looking for that. Your sellers, however, are going to be looking for a measured move. Let's see if they've hit it yet. No. It's close. It's close. But I could actually see a little bit more downside. If I was looking for like Elliott wave or something like that, right? I would be looking for a little bit more downside. Ooh, as far as Elliott wave goes, I don't ever talk about it, but it's similar in principle to what we're looking to do. We're looking to be a dip buyer, or we're looking to trade the trend. And depending on the time frame that you're looking for those trends, the Elliott wave tool ultimately did. I don't know if I even posted it. Just give me a second. It was in the month of September, so I don't have to go beyond that, really, that I was looking at it. I guess I didn't post it on Twitter. But the Elliott wave tool did literally call pretty decent downside targets on Bitcoin, not so much Ethereum. Let me see if I even have that tool. I don't even have that tool anymore. Or was it one of these? Let me see what kind of indicators it pulls up. Yeah, right here. This was it. Yeah, it's got the same targets. So it literally had these targets. And it had one more way up here back then when I looked at it. So people are looking for a much deeper correction here if they're looking for Elliott waves. But it's starting to pan out. So it doesn't look great, right, for Bitcoin. But as long as the VIX is under the yearly opening range, I would still have a bullish bias. I wouldn't be looking for a massive down move here. Oops, sorry. But I mean, my short trade is still working. It hasn't failed yet. It doesn't mean it will continue to work, but I'm on the right side of the trade at least. That's what matters. But keep an eye on your $3,900 zone, King Money, and don't force the issue with that trade. If you're trading under that 4-hour swing low, don't force the issue. So like, if you're looking at the 4-hour candle, I just simply mean if your 4-hour candle looks like this and you're under this swing low, then do not buy it. Because you could be getting ready to see another expansion lower. But if it does this and closes like that, on the next candle, leave it alone until you get something like that where it gets back above it, right? Sets in a wick. You can buy it as long as you're above this price. But if you're under it, you cannot buy it because you could be putting in lower lows. That's the only way I could play that. STBLUSDT looks bullish, paying back today. I don't know where you're getting these from. I'm not seeing that either on the hot ones list. Let's pull it up and see what it is. STBL stable USDT. Looks bullish, pulling back today. So if it would have held support, I would agree with you. It's breaking down right now. It's currently breaking down. It's broken support with a pretty decent size expansion. So now people are going to be looking to sell any retests of supply. That's going to be your supply candle. It doesn't mean it'll work, but yeah, you broke support pretty, like you did the same thing here. Then you traded sideways and then boom. It could find support again though. There's a couple levels down there. Nothing. Not enough data. Oh, you got it on the hourly. Actually hit the primary target. Secondary target, tertiary targets. So according to this, as long as you're trading under this swing high right here, you can look for shorts. Trading above this and then something else is taking place. For me, I would just simply watch that 4-hour supply or even a 4-hour res retest. I could get in on a short. Why does this not have a time frame? Like, why is there no time? Maybe it's just this stupid chart. Let me put it on this one. Yeah, that's going to be a chart setting. I'll find it later. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I'd be careful with it. See what they did at the S&P 500? I told you that people would be looking to be a buyer here. And they bought it like an absolute flawless test. So if I was looking for longs, once again, I'd be risking 5 points to make 10 points. I got my target. That being bearish today is not a great idea. Because of that VIX, guys. I mean it. I'm telling you, be careful. Just look at this daily chart. You've not been able to close a daily candle above the yearly open since August the 5th. Even though you were trading up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times you tried to break out above this, and you were unable to do so. Be careful. Now, if the day closes above it, then yeah, I would start being a little bit more concerned that we might be seeing a deeper correction. But as of right now, everything is still in line with me being a dip buyer. You are in bar replay. Is it? Oh, there it is. Nice. The sellers got destroyed. Why was this in bar replay? The other thing. I see what you're looking at now. Yeah, it did hold support. And it did break out above that. So your Elliott wave guys got killed. It still won't pull it up on a 4-hour. It still likes it to the downside. Of course it does. Yeah. I don't like the liquidation and then rejection, but we see that a lot with cryptos, where you get above the highs and you just can't make upside continuation. You did for a couple hours, but uh, 98.83 on the Dixie. Yeah, it's my USD JPY short's gonna get stopped out. And I've been sitting in this damn thing for weeks, bro. It's gonna get stopped out, more than likely. So this breakout is starting to look more legit, right? That was the level that we were mitigating risk from. Well, we still kind of are, but it's not looking good anymore. Literally right here above that, and I'm done. I'm getting out. That's the last line of defense for USD JPY shorts. Yeah, not all trades work. Not all trades work. I basically only put that trade on because it was a yearly trend. The yearly trend was down. This was a 4-month consolidation. We put in the false breakdown here, rejected. So many people got stuck in that. And here we go, right back up. So more than likely you're going to break out to the upside. And what that means, if you see upside continuation, is you're probably going back to the yearly opening range for a retest. Because there's your year trend. There's 2025's price action. First 4 months were bearish. Then you went into a 6-month consolidation period here. We were looking for this to be a trap, and we wanted to see downside continuation based on dollar weakness. We even got the rate cuts. Doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter what we think will happen. We can't predict what will happen. Nobody can. Nobody can. You can be the best price action analyst on the planet. You're not going to ever predict 1 second in the future. Otherwise, you would be a trillionaire. XMR seems to be struggling still, but this choppy piece of garbage. These are old levels. That was the level that I was focusing on, but not going to take it anymore because it's already stopped me out. Not going to do it again. If it goes without me, it goes without me. You could still watch it. If you're trading above 297.38, leave it alone. It's the only one that I see really for a decent short op. Oh, Litecoin put in a bullish engulfing. Yeah, with that VIX going lower, it'd be hard pressed for me to sell that. I'm actually seeing something weird up here. Let me go see what that is. I can't put you guys on the big screen. I can, but you won't see the entire screen on this DXY. So you can see where I've got that top blue line, trend line coming in. And then there's your 2011, both trend lines, the weekly line chart. When I say the weekly line chart, I simply mean this, right? That blue line catches your DXY swings to perfection. And it even caught that swing up there, but obviously it's no good anymore. So we have this sort of trend line coming in, and then that one. Yeah, there's nothing really good there. So many wicks. That's your August low. Nothing really there. Never mind. I thought I was seeing something, but I guess I wasn't. All right. Any other questions here? We're going to wrap this up, seeing how there's not really a whole lot going on here today. Yen is so weak. I can't get over that. I mean, it's weak. Weak. Look at that. It's getting killed. You're damn near about to smoke that low. That's a trend reversal, guys. The yen is a trend reversal because the yen has been up all year. It was up all year long. Went into a 6-month consolidation. So this data, though, it isn't. This is your yearly range on the yen. So it was up the first 4 months of the year, set the yearly high in September or April, the same as the S&P setting the yearly low in April. And then it's been down ever since, whereas the S&P's been up ever since. So this is a potential trend reversal here. There's your year-to-date. It doesn't look as bad on this because this data is delayed. Let me see what the daily looks like. Let's go 1 year. Here you go. No data delay here. No data delay. You're literally coming in here to get this. So, looks like a trend reversal on the year. If you see a breakdown below this swing low on the Japanese yen and you see downside continuation, next place I would be looking for why can't I get the year, the day? Whatever. Yeah, if you get a breakdown and you get downside continuation beyond this point, I would not be bearish on the risk markets. I just wouldn't be. Fresh yearly highs on Aussie CAD. Ooh. Yeah, it would be hard pressed to call a reversal here. That's that dollar strength. Even Swiss yen is still moving to the upside because of yen weakness. Look at euro yen gone with upside continuation. Will it eventually run out of steam? Probably. I mean, you're looking at all-time data here on forex.com. There's more data on ICE markets. You're above some major key swings here on this trading pair. There's upside continuation. Yearly opening range down here on pound Aussie. Crap. So might be a buying opportunity if it gets down there. Got some intraday, it got daily support. There's you're seeing downside, you're seeing a fresh downside break here. If it can continue to trade under that, I would have a near-term bearish bias. Yeah, it faked everybody out here, but now it's back down there. Uh-oh. Whatever happened with our news? I never looked to see, but I don't really care anyway. It was a nothing burger, that's why. You're right into daily support, so it'd be a hard short for me, but as long as we're trading under July's low with daily closes, I would have a very near-term bearish bias. We could have shorted that today. Son of a biscuit. Why didn't you say something, Wes? You're supposed to tell me when we get these short opportunities. On Forex, we're looking for another Forex setup here. Oh, Aussie yen continuation as long as we're above July's high. We should have been a buyer on Aussie yen yesterday. Pound dollar getting beat up because of dollar strength. Getting ready to liquidate a key swing. You're going to make a fresh September low. We'll see what happens after that. Are we doing that on the euro as well? No, you're not doing anything. You got a long ways to go before you're liquidating that. So it's just on pound. We're seeing a lot more weakness on pound dollar than on euro dollar. Yeah. I could be a buyer here if it rejects these lows. But that's a lot of downside momentum. So you're probably not going to, but you could. Just keep an eye on them. All right, that's about all I got. I don't really see much out there right now. Oil sucks, though. Why does oil suck? Oil should be going up with the dollar. Yeah, oil is probably going to get upside continuation. Unless the dollar reverses. If the dollar tops out somewhere like today or tomorrow, then maybe oil rolls back over. But yeah, oil does suck. Oil is very sideways. Very, very sideways. You're in a multi-month range here on oil. You're still trading inside of June's range. As long as you're inside of June's range, you're doing nothing. You're an inside month. This put in a trending candle right here. So we rejected the 618 so far. So maybe up here I could be a seller on oil. If it rejects up there at 66.04, I could be a seller. Looking for this. Right? Like if this is going to have another down move, because we traded up, closed higher, but then the next month we reversed, took out the monthly low and closed below the low. So this month is an inside month. It's not really, it's a trending down month because you did take out August's low already. To your reversal traders, they're going to look at this as very bullish, but for the trend, for the 3-month trend, I would still be looking to be a seller. If the 618 on oil does not reject, if we trade up to here on oil and it does not reject, like just throw a wick through it and reverse, then I won't be a seller till here. But here and here is where I like to short on oil. Not here. Not even above this swing. I would want to see a full-on test of that. And I could look for shorts on oil. And I will look for shorts on oil. Because I still have a bearish bias on the dollar. But I'm not going to force the issue, clearly, while it's going up. I'm going to let it go up. But I have no problem with shorting the dollar at the Q4 open. So wherever it is, the DXY, you're trading inside of August's range. It looks like a rejection. It still does. I agree. It definitely looks like a rejection. However, it still fits. It still fits short side entries. Here, here, or here. These 3 spots. So say we push up. And Wednesday, we reject there. Wednesday, I will be short the dollar. Looking for Q4 to give us that downside expansion. If I get stopped out, then I'll wait till January 2026 to be a seller on the dollar. I wouldn't expect it to be up all quarter like Q4. I don't think you're going to see this strong of a move higher in Q4, but obviously if it does, I would wait until January to be a seller. But I'm going to be a seller on the dollar upon rejection of either one of these 3 levels, and hopefully as close to Q4's open as possible. That's why I'm I still haven't, if the yen weakness isn't going to stop, then I'll eat that. I guess I'll eat the stop on the USD JPY short. But what I can do is I can be a buyer on Euro USD. Like here. Or here. See, look what it did here late month in July. It put in like 3 nasty days. Here's August 1. It literally reversed, like just because it was August 1st. Now this was also an NFP day. That's why you had such a vicious move higher. That was the fresh NFP day. That's where we got short on USD JPY. But this trend hasn't really been a strong one. So we might be wrong for having a bearish thesis on the dollar. all together. Nobody knows. What would, I don't know what you're talking about, Wes. 11:30. So you just hit me up there. I don't get the Discord alerts when I'm doing live YouTube for whatever reason. I see what you're saying, but we'll see what happens. We got a fresh quarter coming up, and fresh quarters oftentimes provide opportunities. We'll see if we get one. All we got to do is nail one of them. We can be wrong on 3 of them and nail one, and that one good one could smoke all those 3 losers. That's what's so lovely. All right. On the futures contract, if it didn't take out August low, so a sweep of 66.03 rejected, then target those lows 61.45. If oil sweeps September's high, I wouldn't say things like I think it would head lower. I think I would be more comfortable with saying if it heads lower on oil, because oil has a really good habit of destroying people's accounts. So I get what you're saying. If oil sweeps the September high, that's just right here, which is the 618, right? So it happened on the 2nd day of September, that swing high. If it sweeps and then goes lower, like I wouldn't be like so quick to jump on it, but yeah, that's what we kind of are looking for. If the dollar weakens, I would definitely want to be holding shorts on on oil as well. So we'll see what it does. We'll set that alert. Does that set the alert for oil on all charts? Or do I have to be on that freaking chart to get that alert? No, it sets the alert across all charts. Good. But sometimes TradingView alerts like just do not get my attention until it's too late. So I'm going to keep paying attention to oil. I agree. If it rejects September's high, we can short it. But we would also need to see that happen around the same time as the dollar is putting in a top. Because this aggressive move higher on oil that you're seeing right now is because of the dollar. Right? You're seeing an aggressive move up on the dollar as well. Oil and the dollar do not trade one for one. Like they're not 100% positively correlated. But they are very correlated sometimes. Like you've been trading in a very long-term monthly garbage here, right? And you've been heading lower for a long time on oil. So one can arguably look at the DXY and see that is pretty much the same thing that's been happening here. They're not always both down or both up on every day, but they trade similar. All right, we're going to wrap it up. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you guys trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.